Welcome to Factorio Megabase. My name is Nilaus, and we are here with an episode that will make Weyland Yutani become proud of us. What we're going to do is we're going to be farming hundreds of thousands of aliens and just safely bringing them to orbit, and nothing could possibly go wrong, right? That is definitely what we can promise. What I can also say is that if it were a year ago before Space Age came out, then this is probably the silliest thing that I have built in terms of sort of if I was telling my past self that I would be launching hundreds of thousands of biters and building factories for farming and sending them up and burning them if they are not hatching. Yeah, it's weird, but that's the episode today, and it's a necessary thing for Promethium science. And as usual, there are going to be blueprints and there are going to be designs, and this is the final piece of the puzzle we need for Promethium science, and then the last thing we need is to put them together. So if we look at our Promethium science, well, we did handle how to solve it with this beautiful gigantic ship that is just roaming. This is coming into Nilaus soon. And we got the quantum process last time, so today it's about the biter eggs. And then last one we're going to be putting it together because there's some advanced logistics to do. And then once we have that, we have safely 1 million science per minute, even Promethium science. So biter eggs, that is the objective. Oh yeah, and I should say that those blueprints and save games and all that stuff, that is available to Patreon supporters. So thank you very much everyone who's supporting on Patreon. Without you, this channel just wouldn't exist. It's that simple. So biter eggs. Well, the thing with biter eggs is that it kind of sucks. It's a production building, and here it's a production building, but it's a very special production building because once you have placed it, you can't get rid of it. That one here, and I should probably have this being there. And I should also request, oh, I have some explosive. I don't want explosive rockets. I want the other rockets here. We want to make sure that we have some rockets here because I might need to delete some things. Cool. Right, so this is a special building. The reason why it's so special is that you can see it's first of all, it's degrading. So you have to put in some bioflux in here in order for it to be happy. Let's get some bioflux as well, just so that we get that. And yeah, so need some bioflux or something else that's edible, but well, no, it's actually bioflux. You have to put bioflux in here. So there we go. There, get some bioflux in. And once that happens, then they start producing eggs. The production mechanic here is that it produces this one. It produces 5 eggs every 10 seconds, so it's 0.5. You can of course get these in better, but here's the problem. Or here's the good and the bad thing about it. Let's start by exporting it, because we first need to understand the mechanics and the problem. As soon as we put them in here, then they start degrading, and you can see the timer remains. Now we're going to use these biter eggs to send them to a spaceship, like so. Wow, what about that timing? How about that timing? We're going to send them to a spaceship, and as soon as we send them to a spaceship, they're going to start working. So that means that we want to make sure that all the biter eggs are like this, super fresh. It will always take 30 seconds to launch a rocket, but we want to make sure that it doesn't sort of build up here, and then gradually this gets more and more degraded, and when it builds up to 100, then we can send it off. So here is the first problem. How do we make sure that biter eggs stay fresh until we launch them? The answer is like this. When biter eggs stay inside here, they are fresh. They're not degrading. They don't degrade or spoil inside here. So you can see here, they are still completely fresh. So we need to keep this going and just keep these biter spawners as our storage. This is our storage. They will stop when they get to 100, and when they get to 100, they will just keep producing the green bar here, and then they'll just replace it. So what we need to consider is this is both our production and also our storage of biter eggs, because as long as we store it in here, it doesn't spoil. So the next question is 500 per rocket. So what we need to do is we need to have 5 of these good things here. Here's the thing where I change it from that part. We're going to be changing it and using this because we're using foundries, because we're going to be shuffling around, because there's no picking this one up. You have to destroy it, which is annoying. So when we do design, I'm going to design it with foundries, and maybe I'll replace it with the actual captive biter spawner once when we're done. But that's the first part, is the design part. Right. Shouldn't I also have a rocket silo? Yes, I do. A rocket silo. So let's do a rocket silo. So that means we need to have 5 of these around each of these ones so that they can... Yeah, they're gonna work. There. So let's... Oops. There. Okay, and for me, I have 270 automatic productivity in here, so I just need 2 of these. And I don't need it to launch fast. It launches once every 15 minutes or something, so I can just put some efficiency modules in. So just make sure that you get to 300%, which is the maximum, and then the rest you can put speed or efficiency. But since it's not fast, then we just do efficiency. These are now my biter nests, at least the way I look at them. 1, 2, there, and then the same on the other side, here, and here. So they will be feeding in here. That's 5 biter nests. 5 biter nests going into this. Then I want to make sure that I do not actually, if these need to have a condition, because if they don't have a condition, then they're going to immediately put it in here, and that's not what I want. I want it only to be put in here when it's necessary, when there is a request for it. So this is getting into some circuits, and it's really advanced, but it actually makes perfect sense once we build it. So we need to have a roboport somewhere. Actually, I'm just gonna take this and move it a little bit up here in this corner. How close do I want it? I think like this. Good. Okay. Oof, that's a lot of stuff. Right, this one we want to just leave it here so we can see when it gets to 100 that it stays at 100. And I might have. Okay, so what do I need up here? I need some kind of condition here, and that basically what I can do is I can take this and go in here, and that means I have an option to read orbital requests. So basically this can say, oh, are there actually orbital requests for, let's say, right now there was an orbital request just for a second, but that has now disappeared because you have left. Right, so there is an orbital request of biter eggs. So this could be there. We're just gonna send a star. So if someone in orbit is requesting biter eggs, then we'll send a star signal out. Why a star signal? Pfft, whatever. That's just what I chose to do in this case. Here. No, that's not how things work. There, and then each of these will only be enabled when the star signal is true. We're going to be changing the star signal here. There. Good. So now what I've done is I've said these ones are working, and they'll slowly work up to 100. And autosave, it'll take a while now. Slowly work up to 100, and then they're just going to sit idle as captured biter spawners. Yes, they're captured biter spawners until someone requests biters in orbit, and when that happens, send them off. That's the basic. We're going to come back to it because there's a flaw with that design, but that's the premise. Now we can guarantee that things go in here. Then I want to also make it a little bit more foolproof, because these are biter eggs, and we don't want to get in trouble with this. So once the whole thing is working, it's not going to be an issue, but I do need to make sure that I have some kind of contingency. So that contingency is, I also want to make sure that I can actually get things out. And that means if something goes wrong, let's say I'm also bringing biter eggs to Gleba for construction of overgrown soils. So then maybe they put in here or something. So I want to make sure that if I am not requesting anything in orbit, let's get another one of these. And that's going to be basically the same. This one, if this is 0 from orbit, and I'm just going to get that here. Then if it's 0, then send not a star signal, but a trash can signal. So now that trash can signal can also go up on this wire. Yes, I'm using the red one, but it's because the green one is for something else. So now I can then say you are going to be enabled only when there's a trash can. But basically what I do now is I'm saying if there are requests for biters in orbit, put them from the biter spawners into the rocket silo and launch, because they should be 500 in each of these. And if there's 500 each, or 300, 100 in each, so it becomes 500. So instantly just get it in here, launch the rocket, be done with it. But while it's launching the rocket, maybe it just puts, while the rocket is launching, maybe it'll put some more in here, something like that. We want to get rid of that as a situation. So let's put it into a box, and then we just need to destroy it somehow. And biter eggs can be burned pretty efficiently, so that's just going to be like everything we get, we just burn it in here. No questions. Anything that goes into this box just gets burned, and we're done. Cool. That is, yes. So now we can see that this is at 100. I just wanted to show you so that we are absolutely sure that we know what we're talking about. And there. So now it just keeps going. It uses bioflux. Not a lot of bioflux, but it does use some bioflux. And let's kill this. And then how do we change our weapon? I can't remember how. I don't know how do weapons work? I thought it was C. C is shooting. Tab. No. I have no idea how to change weapons. I can do it like this. Oops. I want 200. Oh, 2000. No. There. Good. Because I need to kill this part here. Right. So what are we missing here? Well, we're missing a few things. We're missing the input here of resources. That's just going to be basic stuff that the same for everything. 100 of that. 100 of this. I mean, take 100 of one, then I should take 100 of the other ones as well. And also 100 here. Good. So that's done. Well, we need some bioflux into all of this. And we also need to get something out of it. I'm just going to shoot. Shoot. There we go. We managed to get it. Right. The issue is that I don't want to have a separate loop here. I want to take this build that I have now and then just kind of stamp it down. Here. Not this part, because this part is fine without anyone else. There and there. So this is basically half of a build, and if I then put it down here as well, then I can also get another one like that. So we now have a pretty good setup here. This will give us 1500, 500, 500, so 15. This is 3000. So now we have a city block that can actually launch 3000 biters at once. That's pretty good if we just manage to get some ins and outs in terms of belts. And we should also put some laser turrets here and there whenever there's an opportunity to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a design. We'll actually just kind of delete the last one here. Let's do it for this one and then replicate it. Right. So this is going to be, we need bioflux inbound, but since we always have bioflux, then we also must be able to get the spoilage out again. So let me start by going like this. This will be spoilage. The reason is we are going to get that here, and then 1, 2, and that can exactly jump under here. This is very important. And then it goes up here. That's actually interesting that it goes into the second one. That's kind of weird. I'd much rather have it like this. This one with spoilage, because that can grab it faster. And then it goes up, and then it has to go a little bit higher. And then 1, 2, I can go in here. The reason why it has to go this curly is because I have to be able to do this one, and then that has to be outbound with spoilage. like this. And then you can go all the way over and then go in. And then that has to match that one. So now that's a spoilers belt all the way around. And this is where we just junk all the spoilers that will be on the belts. That's good. I don't need to do it here. Then we're going to get one place, and just one place where we get things inbound. This will be on the inside belt. Inside of this loop, I will have... what will I have? This bioflux. Oops, not enable, but this one. Good. And you are going to request 100 and trash any unrequested. And you are going to be outputting... I don't know how much is a good number, but let's say we want 100 flowing out here. And I don't want it stacked, I just want it kind of spread everywhere. So now all I need to do is I need to basically do what I did up here. Basically get an input and output for everyone. So it's important that the output is outputting on the outside. So I can't put it here in the corner. So it's just kind of like this is not fine. This is fine. Here, this is fine. Still not. That goes here and here. The spoilers are on the outside. This. And also up here. That's good. That's... No, see, that doesn't work. Then also this doesn't work either. Flip. Here. 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 There you go. And everything is now done except this one. Oops. Yeah, so you're actually kind of starving. So that has to be here. And then you can go into that box because that disappears anyway. Alright, so that's... Yes, like this. And you have this one. Oh, that's interesting. This can actually output... This can output correctly here, but it can't output... This one can't because there's no additional. Right, but that's all the inputs and outputs we need. That's all of the trash thingy, and yeah, pretty good, I think. Actually, now this kind of is changed. Then I kind of like this better. It just kind of looks cool. So the only thing we're missing is the connection from this icon to here and to here. Spiders are about to spawn. Do we dare see if that's true? No. There are no biters here. I just think I don't have this one. There you go. We don't want to show this warning anymore. So that's just a old time warning. Right. So this thing here, the reason why I... yeah, okay, I don't actually like the fact that I'm using red lines for both. So I'm going to take this line out here and make it green instead. Because it gets too complicated. Because also my principle of using green is information and red is constraints. Is commands. That's kind of how I do it. So here we're reading from orbit. And it's sending it back here on the red ones. And then I'm going to do this part here. Then the question becomes, if I flip it vertically, like that, then it works. It's of course running the other way around, but I think that's fine. Then let's see, we are going to say, ooh, I am thinking maybe, would this be an idea? Because there's room for it in here. Just doesn't kind of look great. Oh, no, not that. Legendaries. Yeah. If they spawn, then we have it. And then, of course, we're going to get legendary here. And these can just be placed whenever there's room for it. There isn't a hell of a lot room inside the build. But they have so long range that it doesn't really matter. We can just put a few out here as well. And just kind of make it feel a little safer. There. These two. These two. Here. 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 This should not be necessary, but you can't have biter farms without also having sentries. And I think these Tesla turrets are just going to be happy as well. There we go. Maybe some lights as well. Let's put some lights in here for indicators which one is active. Yeah, that doesn't work. This is enabled when trash icon is true. That is going to be like this. Trash icon is true. There you go. And the other one is going to be when the star is true. There, because that's the signal for sending biters to the stars. There you go. Okay, some just trivial lights here and there should also probably be a good idea. I kind of want to build it here, but that's not a good idea. We'll build lights. There we go. So here comes the really strength of why I'm building in a city block, because I mean, you know me, I like my city blocks. It's not really a big surprise by now, but I also think that it is not really emphasized better than it is in this kind of setup here. Why it's such a strong way of building modular builds. Just look at this and look at that. Yeah, that looks decent. Except for this line down here. Because what we've now done is we have launched 3,000. So with this can launch 3,000 biters. If I want to, obviously I need to replace it with actual biter farms. If I want to paste more, then all I need to do is just save this as a blueprint, stamp it down again, and again, and again, and again. And what will we have? Well, I'll show you. So here we have it without all the foundries, but actual real biter nests. And here, and here, and here, and here. So that's one row of 5, so that's 15,000. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can see all 5. And then we have more rows, more rows, more rows, and more rows. That's 15 rows. No, that's, I don't know how many rows that is. That's a lot of rows. Yeah. But that's not enough. We need more. So how many do we have here? We have now built the most absurd thing that I've ever built. This thing here, there are 3,300 biter spawners, 660 rocket silos, and all of them are just strapped. They are ready to go. There are 100 biter eggs that are fresh in storage, waiting just for that signal for a spaceship to come into orbit and say, hey, let's give me something. But here's the thing. This is not actually going to work, this one. Because as I said, what happens if I'm also transporting biter eggs to Gleba? Then in this case, a ship comes in from Gleba and says, oh yeah, by the way, give me 8,000 biter eggs because I want to make some overgrowth soils. And then that would trigger this entire monstrosity launching 330,000 biter eggs. It wouldn't launch all of them, but it would try to put them into the rocket silos. The 8,000 would launch, and the rest, the 322,000 biter eggs, would sit in rocket silos and be either degrade and be exploded, or would have to sort of be filtered out here and burned. Another option is really good. So what I actually want to do is I want to say, you're not actually monitoring a biter egg. You're monitoring something else, a token. So I'm going to take some kind of item that we don't have in here. That could be stuff like that, a discharge, a defense, whatever. It has to be an item that doesn't exist, because what then would happen is that I could, I would say, here, please give me this item from Navis. But it doesn't exist on Navis, and it cannot exist on Navis. It must not exist, because that means this can actually identify, because it's monitoring a request, can actually identify that there is a ship in orbit that is a Promethium ship. It's not just requesting biter eggs, it's a Promethium ship in orbit. Because if then, as something else, another ship comes in from from Clever wanting biters, then it won't be triggering this one. It'll trigger maybe another signal that can then launch some other things, some other dedicated builds that go into that one. But this one is guaranteeing that it only goes in when it has this token of uselessness, for example. Some kind of token that, you know, we don't have. We don't have epic portable fission reactors lying around, I hope. And that's how it goes. So this is how we identify it. I have set it up here. I set it up for all the different 5 ships, but you could actually just have the same ship, the same icon here being requested. But I wanted to sort of keep it separate so I could track which one. So I have like 5 different components here that don't really exist, that don't really make sense. And then we just need to see what happens when this ship comes in. And it just comes in and sort of triggers this, give me epic personal batteries. And once the epic personal batteries gets identified, oh yeah, I'm not looking at the old one. The existing one, this one. The one that's actually in production. It comes in here. If that is true, which it will be very soon, in 10,000 kilometers, which is coming in quickly, then what we'll see is that these will trigger from here to here. And I will just, then we'll immediately see that all of these start shoveling things in here, but only when it gets there. And how we are 1,000 kilometers away, and ready, set, and something. All right. There's a little bit of a discrepancy here because there we go. It just needs to launch first, and then it just instantly, pretty much instantly, put in here. You can see how fresh they are. They are just only now starting to count down from 30-minute duration, time, and then it launches. And it launches, and it launches, and it launches everything here. Yes. The insanity of this. The absolute insanity of launching 330,000 rockets, 330,000 biters at once. And that will then be sent up here to Moon. We can see that there's 330,000 inbound. You can also see that available on planet. There's nothing available on planet, and available in rocket silos. Right now, this is exactly what we're seeing, that they are sort of going in and out and into rocket silos and being deleted. But these ones are here. This one is no longer requesting anything. Ah, still not that one, damn it. Going up here. These ones, as they produce, because they're still, this is still parked in orbit, it actually puts it in here. These are going in. And then when our spaceship is ready, we can see that they're starting to come in now. When it's ready, there we go. It has now gotten everything, and then it should leave the planet. There we go. It has left, and we go back to our planet. Then we'll now trigger the trash icon, and we have now moved all of it from here into the trash, and it got burned instantly. Done. You can see the temperature is high, so yes, it has burned instantly. Right, so that's how it works. It goes through a complete cycle where it identifies the ship coming in. When the ship goes in, the biter nest put it into rocket silo. The rocket silos launch. When the ship has departed the orbit, then it trashes everything that it has sort of put in here. That's how it goes. And now we have 330,000 biters spawning, launching, and safely being transported on here to a spaceship, which will carry all of this out there into the Promethium fields for the next iteration. And that's where we're going to leave it off today, because when we get back next time, we're going to be taking a look at what happens if 2 ships come back to Nilaus at the same time. How are we going to, how many biters is the right amount of biters to get? How far do we get out there? How many ships do we need? How do we balance all the things between the farming and the production so that it falls into a nice rhythm and it is stable? Because stable is the most important word when it comes to us actually making making Promethium science, because it is very important for me that if we look at the production graph, it has been stable for 10 hours. There we got a science up. So that's that was just a science up, and then I adjusted the number of science labs, and then it's back to being a very, very stable 1 million science per minute for all the way over. And I don't know what happened here. Maybe a little hiccup, but in 1 hour, in half an hour, it'll be gone. So no one can ever see that again. but it's been running really stable for a very long time, which is super amazing. Yet, if we look at it, also science per minute here, if we look at it, it's still 7 hours remaining for this science. So when someone says like, oh, but you can just get infinite science, that realistically you can't really get infinite of research productivity, because even at 1,000,000 science per minute, this is taking 7 hours for the next one, and it's the updates are doing actually pretty well now. But it still means that this is basically 14 hours of real time that the game has to run just to get one productivity gain. So yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, that is our design. Well, I shouldn't be looking at this one because this is actually not the correct one. But here's the correct one, and that is how we launch spiders into space in a safe and consistent manner. Blueprint is of course available to Patreon supporters, and with this you never need to worry about how to manage spiders for spaceships, whether that's for Clever or for Promethium Science. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.